Most RVs have exhaust vents installed into the bathrooms so you can remove the stale air and you can remove moisture when you're taking a shower. But Bill, most of the units that come from the factory, they got these little fans, and after a while they get really lazy and they don't really pull a lot of air. So I think there's a better way to do it.
Yeah, I mean and they don't even last that long. You get a little tiny DC motor that size, and they're good for a couple of years. So they have a replacement fan, and this will probably move about 10 times the amount of air.
It's a Vortex type of a unit, and the nice thing about it is it's a replacement. It'll go, whether or not you have it in a power exhaust vent, it'll go in either one, whether it's just a manual crank up or you have the one that's got the fan in it. The replacement's the same. There's not a whole lot to do. You just have to start by removing the shroud. Nice thing about it though is that you know what happens after a while? These screens, like in the vent that's right behind me, they plug up with a lot of dirt. And to get them clean, you have to remove the screens, which, you know, you got to get out of pliers and a screwdriver. Hey, this one here, quarter turn, just like this. And it comes right off and you can clean the screen. So Bill,
instead of taking up half the vent apart, it's easy to clean. So.
Right, so let's get started and get this thing installed. It shouldn't take much time at all. First thing we're going to do is remove the 4 screws so we can take the garnish down. Next step, we're going to take the screen out, and to do that, we're going to remove the screw from the crank handle and then the nut that holds the switch in place. Once we have the screen out of the way, we'll have access to the fan and the fan motor. Now the fan simply slides off the shaft that goes to the motor, and then there's 2 small screws that you remove from the cross member that frees the motor itself. Next, we're going to loosen the cable so we have easy access, because we're going to have to cut the wire. Next, we remove the wire nut to the positive side of the switch, and then we just cut the negative wire. The Vortex replacement vent is made for several different roof vents. And then there's a gearbox that may have to be moved to a different position. Once we verify that the gearbox is in the right place, okay, we just have to hold the entire mechanism up into the vent itself. And we use the crank handle to kind of wiggle into the splines so we can make the proper alignment. For the next step, you might need another set of hands because the piece itself is a little bit cumbersome and it's a little bit difficult to work with only 2 hands. So we're going to need to wire it up, and we're going to use butt connectors. And in this case, the extra set of hands gives us stability so we can crimp them in place. Once we have the wires butt connected, the switch is put in place and tightened with the nut. The next step, you really need to have another set of hands because you want to position the Vortex fan in place. 2 screws are used to hold the assembly in place. Once the Vortex fan kit is in place, just simply operate the crank to make sure that the vent lid goes all the way up and all the way down. Once the Vortex fan assembly is in place, you reinstall the outside garnish using the 4 screws, and we're ready to test. As you can see, this fan is a lot larger and it has a much higher CFM rating, which means it's really going to pull that air out of this bathroom. And the nice thing about it is, it's a lot quieter than the fan that originally was installed here.